Mike and Mine podcast. Hello, hello. Hudson Hott, Scotty B, Alan Wagner, the resident therapist. Did you guys have a nice Father's Day?
It was actually like an amazing day. My family made me breakfast, which was really nice. And I got to have a bagel with lox and cream cheese, which I was really excited about. And yeah, no, I picked blueberries. I got to go see glass animals. It was
Oh.
actually a fantastic Father's Day.
How about you, Mr. B?
Well, we tend to do a lot of things on the day before because Father's Day or Mother's Day specifically is super busy, but Father's Day not so much. But we did a family thing, went for a walk through Old Salem, which is
Oh,
a
wow.
historical area here, and then had a great burger, a place called Sin, which was nominated as best burger in the Triad. That was really good. I got this. I'll show you show and tell. This is a little paper, and it was things that my granddaughters said they love about Papa.
Oh,
So
Oh,
little,
Scotty.
little Josie says, Papa loves me, God loves you, makes me happy when you do silly faces. So she's two. And then Mabel says, it makes me happy when you tickle me and when you spend time with us and do the heart and the hug. Now, the heart is when you throw your fingers up, like the little heart. So.
Okay, Scotty, that
Huh?
is so sweet. It sounds like you also had a fantastic Father's
I
Day.
did, and that wasn't even my kids. It was my kid's kid. But I also got this. This is a shirt from my cat.
oh my God.
Happy Father's Day, human servant, from your tiny furry overlord.
I love it. Oh my gosh. Are you going to
Mhm.
wear it?
Oh yeah, I'll wear it.
Happy Father's Day to you. Thanks again for listening to Mike and One podcast. Remember, we are on every platform. Unfortunately, if you're streaming us, you probably didn't see the cute shirt that Scotty just held up. We're also on YouTube, but we're called The Real Mike and Mind.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I was thinking of how to promote. It's the unedited, raw version of this podcast.
It is.
It
So, like,
is.
it really is because we try not to swear. I have a hard time with it, as Scotty knows, who's known me for so many years. And so he'll edit that out. We want to make this podcast, all
Yeah.
user friendly. So whatever age you are, you're able to listen to it. So I get it. But again, you can always get the unedited version on YouTube at The Real Mike in Mind. But I know that both of you are not the men that are on social media. We've already established that. You're not those guys. But man, I'm watching Justin Bieber's Instagram posts as of, late. And it's really concerning to me. What was he like 13 years old? And he had instant stardom and merch and everything else. And just watching this is breaking my heart. Did you get a
Yeah,
chance to take a look at his
I
Instagram?
I did. I pulled up one particular post where he says, "Don't you think if I could have fixed myself, I would have already? I know I'm broken. I know I have anger issues. I tried to do the work my whole life to be like the people told me I needed to be fixed like them, and it just keeps making me more tired and more angry." And he goes on from there. So he is aware of where he's at, but I don't think he knows what to do about it. And frankly, I wonder when you get to a certain level if you don't have real people in your life anymore.
I totally agree. I mean, I've been in the entertainment industry my whole entire life, but not on that level. I'm nothing, but I'm just saying it's still the same business and people in this industry are really horrible. You know that, Scotty. I know that. Alan, you know this very well as well.
I've said to many clients, Hudson, that I always feel bad when people don't have support systems that they built before they were famous, because it's very easy to hit a certain level and then everybody wants something from you and you'll never get the truth and you won't know because you're enabled by people because they like how it feels. And so whether it's a relationship and where the person is sort of famous and they never know if the girl really likes them or the guy really likes them, or if it's just because of the parties, the people, the associations. But I know, especially with friendships, like having those high school friendships that can really ground you and say, hey, dude, no matter who you are, Justin Bieber or any other celebrity, dude, you're out of control. And I don't know that if he made it at like what, 12 or 13 years old.
13 years old.
Yeah, he had a haircut named after him. Remember that weird little haircut that he had that like
Oh
everyone's calling the
gosh.
Bieber, and people were copying it. But it was like he was so young and so famous, and then he became so crazy, and the media turned on him. Do you remember that when he was like throwing, was it toilet paper rolls at his neighbor, or
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
he was getting complaints or something like that, and
Noise complaints and all those things. Yep.
yeah, and then I thought, he kind of got his life together, embraced his faith, and then got married and became a dad. I haven't been following him. I just looked at the story too, like you, Scotty, and I saw the bong, and I saw, he's in pain.
This is the thing that bothers me the most, just even about myself, and I don't know what that is. Maybe you can explain it, Alan, because I'm not the only one. My heart hurts for him, but I continue to go and I keep looking, whether it's him, whether it's Britney Spears, Amanda Bynes, Corey Feldman. We watched them rise to fame, and now we're watching them crumble in front of our very eyes, watching it all unravel in real time. Like yesterday on Father's Day, within 24 hours, Justin Bieber posted like 20 something posts. But why is that we're so obsessed with this?
Oh yeah, no, I can talk
I
about why
say,
people watch them.
why?
I think it's the same reason people watch reality shows and car crashes. I think as people in our own lives, we have our own issues. We have the things that we fear. We have our own issues with our relationships. We have our own issues with money. We have our own issues with our jobs. So it's a nice distraction, I guess, to look at someone else going through something and sort of, I guess, in a way, it's like a reality show. It's like you wonder how you would handle it. If I had his money, what would I be like? Or if I had his fame, what would I be like? And I think it's the same thing with Britney Spears or even Corey Feldman. I think we look at those people that we sort of grew up with, and as we watch them sort of deteriorating, I don't want to say that people are enjoying it, because I don't think people enjoy car wrecks or other types of acts that people see. But at the same time, it is not boring to see something like that, like a celebrity like Justin Bieber that we all grew up with at 13 years old, saying these things. It's heartbreaking. I wish I could be his therapist, because I honestly would love to help him.
And that's the sad part. I wish, you really could reach out and help him. I'm looking at this text message that he shared. I will never suppress my emotions for someone. Conflict is a part of relationship. If you don't like my anger, you don't like me. My anger is a response to pain I have been through. Asking a traumatized person not to be traumatized is simply mean. Then the other person says, I'm not used to someone lashing out at me. It's not that I don't see and feel your anger. He says, ouch, this friendship is officially over. I will never accept a man calling my anger lashing out. I enjoyed our short lived friendship. I wasn't kidding when I told you I didn't need you as a friend. I have good friends who will respect these boundaries. I thought you were a pussy, which is why I always kept my distance, but I was willing to give you the benefit of the doubt. This confirms you were still the pussy I always thought you were. Then he gave the middle finger and he's like, please leave me alone now. And then he writes, I'm a pussy, goes, blocking you now. He posted that. Now, obviously, the curious side of me, I want to know who that was that he's talking to. You know what I'm saying? This new friendship that somebody was possibly trying to reach out
An
and reach
intervention of
him.
some kind, yeah.
Possibly.
No, I think, look, the thing that you have to understand if you're listening to this is that anger is something we all feel as human beings, but it's how we express it. It's pain. Anger to me is pain, and that's what he's talking about. It's trauma. It's an expression of anger. They always have that little circle with the arrows going in or the arrows going out. And so sometimes people go inward and they get angry at themselves and they get depressed, and other times it goes outward and it gets expressed at other people, but it's pain. And so no one is denying that he has a right to be angry. And again, I don't know Justin Bieber and I don't know what he's been through, but I will say that how you express your anger will definitely dictate the outcomes you get and how people respond to it. And if you can express your pain the right way, you will receive support. But if you express it through anger, you can push people away.
How do you, as someone who's trying to help or trying to intervene, express your concern about them without having them feel like you're judging them?
You don't want to label a person, you don't want to corner a person and bring out a defensive posture. So I think if you go at a person the wrong way, they have to come to you about it, and you have to normalize what they're feeling, and they have to know that you're on their side. I challenge my clients. I'm not scared to call out the stuff I have to call out. I don't enable people. But that said, to build that trust with a client, that you can challenge them and they know that you're on their side and they know that you know them and you know that you're calling out a behavior, not them personally. And it sounds like from that thing that we were just hearing about, he took it very personally. He didn't understand that like you can separate a person's feelings or their choices or their behaviors from who they are as a human. And in those situations, then we can look at them more objectively. And I think that right now he doesn't have that. I don't know who his therapist is. I know that for me, I've heard a lot of therapists are very enabling. They just clients come in as victims and they just enable their victimhood. So it's if you want a therapist like that, you'll never change. But I think if you have a therapist that gets to know you and loves certain aspects of your personality and you know that and trust them, you do have that ability to challenge a client, to call them out and know that it's coming from a place of care.
I believe, and this is one of the awkward things about all the Justin Bieber stuff, that he has some sort of spiritual side of things as well. And as a guy who also wants to live by faith, I struggled when it came to dealing with depression and anxiety and things like that because I felt like I'm not supposed to struggle with those because I'm a man of faith. Some of those things are just the way you're made. And I feel sometimes we discredit or in our mind as spiritual people how counselors, how therapists can really help. And
Mhm.
so there's a way to have both of those things be true, that God is real and he provides these opportunities for you to get help.
I think also though we have to sort of challenge people. Putting your child in these situations to begin with is not a good thing. And that's just a personal opinion. I don't mean to take a stance on this, but there's something really messed up about parents putting children through the entertainment world, which is a nasty, nasty world of using people, glorifying people, taking them down a notch. Like I can imagine like when people she was mentioning Corey Feldman and Amanda
Oh,
Bynes. I remember watching Corey Feldman on the Billy Corgan podcast, and he
which
was
is a
talking.
great
It's
podcast,
a
by the
great
way.
podcast, by the way.
The
If you guys watch
Magnificent
it,
Others
yeah.
streaming. Listen to that episode. It was
Yeah,
fantastic.
it was a great episode, and he didn't even really remember most of the movies he was in because he was a little kid when Stand By Me and all those other ones came
Mhm.
out. Like he's watched them and people have come up to him, but he doesn't really remember being in them. He just remembers what it felt like, kind of like in that moment. It's weird when you see that, and I've seen that vicariously when my kids were little. Some of the moms in Los Angeles really wanted their kids to be actors or singers or dancers or whatever it was because that's what they did, that's what they failed at in many cases, and they put it on their kid. But it's not the kid's choice. How many of these child actors are messed up? And how many people do we not know about that just didn't make it as child actors, but went through the ringer anyway, and they're messed up? Justin Bieber developmentally is probably a really messed up person. He was like, wasn't he living with Diddy and Usher? And like, I don't even know at the age of 13 what that would be like for a child. Someone like myself, who was a therapist in the SAG building, who worked with kid actors, and you understand what it's like to have certain things available to you that no other child would ever have, whether that be drugs or sex or anything.
Yeah, I think one of the other things you have to consider is we're looking through our filter and we're seeing the behavior, but they have a different filter. Their life, they don't understand what reality is a lot of times. And as we talked about, their support system is not necessarily, I mean, they've had people building them up and protecting them and guarding them from reality.
Right.
And then once their shine goes away, then all of that pulls away because those people move to that next project or whatever. And they're
Yeah.
left like, who's real? Who can I trust? And they got to be paranoid.
They have to be. And, the paparazzi doesn't help. I mean, I just saw another thing on TMZ about him because he went out to go get something or whatever, and they were surrounding him, and he went ape shit over it and flying off the handle, which I can understand. Give this man a break.
But again, what I've always said to people is like if you put a spotlight on you, like a kid at school who's in trouble with the administration, they're going to keep watching you until it's not interesting anymore and they'll start following someone else. But if you continue to misbehave at school, you'll continue to be caught and it won't seem fair because they're always catching you, but they're watching you. And I feel like as a celebrity, it's sort of similar. But if I was Justin Bieber's friend, and I knew him and I was a real friend and I wasn't benefiting from his fame or his travel. I wasn't going on trips with him or going to fancy restaurants with him, or I was just like literally his friend who, wanted nothing from him. I would be pulling him off social media because it's like, why are you surprised that the paparazzi's following you when you're giving them a story? Every time that you post those things to 200 million people, then of course they're gonna read it. So I'm wondering what if he wants to be left alone, why is he posting things on social media to 200 million people? And I think he's conflicted and he doesn't seem like he's in therapy and he doesn't seem like he has good friends because somebody should be pulling him off the computer.
The other thing is his heroes. You mentioned a couple of people that were his influences or people that were there early as he started out. And look at the results of their life. Things got revealed about them. So underlying, he was being built probably improperly and idolizing the wrong things.
Yeah. How, Alan, at this age and this stage in his life, a new dad, he's married, he's having all of these financial woes, marital woes, whatever it is that he's going through right now. Is it possible, really, for someone to just be a real friend to Justin Bieber? Because everyone knows who he is.
I would think somebody like a Stephen Baldwin could. If he has any respect at all for his wife's father, he seems to have a good head on his shoulders. He's been famous before too. He's dealt with fame. I remember him in Biodome and a bunch of other movies, Usual Suspects. Like Stephen Baldwin's had a career. And so he knows what it's like to be in the limelight. He knows what it's like to be quote unquote a Baldwin. And so therefore, I think he does understand what Justin Bieber is going through a little bit more than most. And he also has a very solid moral background that I would hope that he would be the person who could reach him if they have a good relationship, but I don't know if they do. I imagine, when you're that wealthy and you're that depressed and you're that bored because you've literally done it all, you can almost just throw grenades on social media like what he's doing probably and watch all the explosions and at least it's entertaining. I don't know what excites Justin Bieber anymore. He's done everything. What's on his bucket list to still
He,
accomplish?
one of the things that it shows you is we admire these people and we look up to them and we long to be them,
Mhm.
but we really shouldn't because
Yeah.
we don't understand what comes with all of
The
that.
struggles.
I'm going to tell you another quick story, and this is about a guy who was found naked on drugs, running down a street. There was all kinds of stories going on about this guy, but it was before the time of full-on social media, so this was coming through the tabloids and stuff like that. He became Iron Man and turned his life around.
I remember.
And
Wow.
so everything he did wasn't blown up like what's happening with Bieber, but he was kind of on that same path
Yep.
and things dramatically changed. So someone like that can say, "Hey, I understand you and I got past that. Let's go."
That's where people like that need to reach out to him and say, hey, dude.
I was going to say Hudson, and it's got to like that. I know, when you talk about Robert Downey Jr., I'm very proud of him because a lot of people don't have the career that he's had post drug abuse, post, mental health issues. And it's pretty impressive. And I think in Justin Bieber's case, it's possible as well. But this is a good example of the fact that money doesn't buy happiness like we all think. Everybody wants to be famous. Like you see people on these reality shows, they want to be social media influencers, they want to be streamers, they want to be YouTubers. They all want to be famous. They all want people to recognize them. But at the same time, would you want to be the person who goes into a restaurant and is swarmed by people videotaping you on their phone or walking by you, pretending to just, because they want to take a selfie with you in the background? I can't even imagine a life like that and how much money you'd have to pay me to live a life in a fishbowl.
But I do believe that people don't consider that when they're craving that stardom.
I think along those lines, Hudson, I think we talked about this, the spotlight effect, that sometimes you feel like I want to go be seen. I want to be the center of attention and I've dressed nice, I look good, whatever. And then those days, that sounds appealing. Like people look at you and go, "Oh, look at blah, da, da, da." I'm in a good mood. I'm interacting. But some days, I just want to be alone. I
You want
just
to
want to
blend
go.
in.
I want to go to the store, and I don't want anyone to even talk to me. I I, I want to go through a drive-through because I don't want to go into a restaurant and sit
Yeah.
down and interact with people. That's the truth. And if you're one of these people, you never get that choice.
Nope.
No. No matter where you go, especially somebody on the level of Bieber, everybody
Well,
knows who.
Hudson knows even with this podcast, and the fact that people are going to watch the videos on YouTube. I just wanted an audio podcast. I didn't want, I mean, I know that it's a great opportunity for people to watch the unedited version and it's a little bit longer because Scotty edits it a little bit and takes some of the curse words out. But the last thing that I want, as Hudson knows, even when I met her, and
True.
and Hudson was already at that point a pretty famous person in Los Angeles and had a huge Instagram account and had notoriety where she would get recognized when we go out sometimes. She knows that if you give me the option of financial freedom and travel without fame or with fame, I will definitely take the without fame. Just like you, Scotty, I want to wear sweatpants and a t-shirt and not shave for a couple days on a long weekend and not worry that someone's taking pictures of me and putting it on online. I could never imagine that.
Let me tell you a funny story. It's about a colonoscopy.
Oh my God.
So
Oh
I
my
had to go,
God. A funny story about a
yes.
colonoscopy? Really?
So, okay, first of all, I'll tell you the quick backstory. For colonoscopy, you have to
Mm.
prepare. You have to clean out your system with this horrible drink and get everything out of your body. So I mean, you're just ready. I'm getting ready to do this horrible procedure. I'm pushed into this place. The people flip me over as they do for a colonoscopy. Your booty's out.
Oh
All the
God.
things you're completely exposed. They said, "Oh, tell us your name and your birthday, just to make sure it's you." I
Yeah.
say it. Guy turns around to do the colonoscopy. He goes, "I recognize that voice." And right as I'm going out, he goes, "Are you Scotty B? Like from the radio?"
No, no, he didn't.
Wow.
I listen to
No,
you all the time.
stop
And
it.
then the other nurses started going, "Oh, Scotty B. Oh yeah, I've listened," and all that. So I knew they knew me. And then I went blank.
My God.
Kidding.
Then I wake up. They then tell me that they couldn't get things to work the right way. They had to flip me multiple directions. Okay. So all my business was out for all of these people
No,
to see.
no.
Yeah.
We can't
So,
unhear this, Scotty.
yes.
Yeah,
Everybody
like
listening,
I
all we're
can't.
doing
I
is
got a
imagining
visual
a
of
naked
you on
Scotty
the
being
table being
right.
flipped
But
Flipped
over.
over, cameras
Just
yes.
going up his butt, his penis.
Okay.
Like I just can't right now.
So I guess the point of the story
Oh
is
my
sometimes you don't
God.
want to be
serious.
you don't want to be recognized sometimes.
Yeah, in a long
Oh,
roundabout
you
way.
think?
Thanks for all of the visual effects on that one, Scotty. It's gonna affect me all day today now, I think.
Oh my gosh, I
But
will
but
not be able to unsee
But
that.
I do not wish fame for myself or anyone. And going back to Justin Bieber and Corey Feldman, it makes me sick because I loved Goonies. I probably have seen Goonies 50 times. I could still probably watch it 50 more times. He was abused, it sounds like. And the system ate him up, just like they ate up everybody who was a child. They've put mirrors in front of you of how great you are. They give you anything you want. They spoil you rotten. And like you said, Scotty, there's always another shiny object and they move on.
I mentioned Robert Downey Jr. I think Drew Barrymore is another
Yep.
example of someone who had gone off what we would call the deep end and came
Yep,
back. Demi Lovato to a certain extent. There was a point where we were concerned, is she going to be alive tomorrow?
yeah.
And she seems to be, now she's doing things about mental health. Selena
Even
Gomez, mental health as well. I mean,
Mhm.
there's a
yeah.
lot of these people who
Amanda
found,
Bynes with the tattoos on the face now.
well, but my point is these other people have found their way back. Amanda Bynes hasn't found it yet.
Well, I feel like, like someone like it could have gone like just to sort of get a little tangential here. I think about Matthew McConaughey. He popped into my head. He has a house here in Wilmington. I think he also has a house in Austin. And despite being a Hollywood quote unquote movie star, he left Hollywood. And I remember actually, I remember Bruce Willis and Demi Moore, they moved to Idaho and they raised their families in Idaho. And so I do think there are these actors, Chris Evans just moved here, that are understanding, let's get our kids, let's raise our life like somewhere where people don't care. They don't care that we're famous. We can be normal. Our kids can go to regular schools. And if we leave it in LA, then our kids are probably going to get like they're going to be nepo babies. They're going to be in the system. They're going to become actors themselves just because of the fact that they have that famous last name. So why not put them in? It's Schwarzenegger's kid. And I think if you get out of LA, that's probably the best thing you can do. For Justin Bieber right now, he's got to find someone who really wants nothing from him but his well-being. And I hope he does.
Yeah. I think that for all of these folks.
Yeah.
Back to your question initially, Hudson, weirdly, we are responsible for some of this because we're drawn to it. We watch it, we
Yep.
pursue it, and that means it's a commodity. And then it's going to be fed to us by people who have something to gain from providing that commodity to us. If we weren't so drawn to it and making it something that they can make lucrative, they wouldn't do it. They would move on to do other things. But our tenaciousness in getting this, like you said earlier, who was that text message to? Who's this other person? Why do
What do
we
you want to know
care?
now? Right. Why do
Why?
I need to know? I don't care. Why do I
Yeah, no.
care? But instantly my brain goes, I wonder who that was.
Yeah.
I'd like
And
to know.
there's somebody right now working on that, and
Oh, there.
they're ready
Oh,
to
it's going to come
reveal it.
out.
Yeah, it'll come out.
Yeah. It just, Alan, if you could say something to Justin Bieber.
What would be helpful for someone like him is if I had the money and I was Justin Bieber and I was this unhappy and I was this angry, I would check myself into one of those inpatients. There's some beautiful ones in Malibu, Palm Springs, Arizona, Scottsdale, and they're relaxing and there's therapy and you get away from everything and they take away your phone and you just get therapy in a beautiful location. Maybe you go swimming, but there's no people there and they're used to celebrities, so they don't give a fuck about who you are. To get away from everything where he can't keep sharing his emotions publicly. Because I've said that to you, Hudson, like stop following Britney Spears. Like every time she gets a view, it's telling her keep doing it, keep doing it. People care, it matters. And don't view it. If you're listening to this and you're watching a train wreck, you don't have to slow your car down and watch it. Just keep driving because eventually they'll get help.
Well, if you can help, help,
You
but if
know,
you can't move on,
none of us
that's
can. You know, we don't
yeah.
know Justin Bieber. We don't know Britney Spears. If he's listening to this, I would love to help him, you know, and I would love to be someone. I want nothing from Justin Bieber. But unfortunately, even a therapist, I've heard horror stories about star kind of therapists. You know, they want those celebrities that they actually get off on it. I bet you a lot of their therapy sessions are about Justin Bieber's accolades if he's in therapy as opposed to his emotional, you know, responses. And none of this matters. It's how does he feel? How does he express what he feels? And who's there to receive it honestly and authentically and hold him and hold that space for him? And right now, that's no one.
Yeah, breaks my heart watching it, but yet I'm still watching it. I'm not going to watch any more today,
Yeah.
but I'm hoping that maybe this will reach somebody, and I know that, as a woman and I know my girlfriends, we all watch these things and it makes sense to, a lot of the things that you said today, Alan. Again, we're Mike and Mind podcast. I got to give a shout out to Matt Wildstein. Matt Wildstein, first in story. He's a realtor. He's in the Porter Ranch community. Am I right, Alan? Is that where that?
I know he does real estate in Porter Ranch, California.
Yeah. Well, Matt, thank you so much for listening and checking out our podcast. We really appreciate it. And again, we're on every platform, whether you stream us on Apple, on Amazon. We're also on Amazon. I forgot about that. Amazon
Yeah.
Music. I never mentioned that, but if you got Amazon and you got Amazon Prime, you can get down with us there as well. Again, like, subscribe, follow. I'm Hudson Hott, Scotty Blaisdell, Alan Wagner, our resident therapist, LMFT, and we're Mike and Mind. Peace in the chicken grease.
See ya.
Have a great day.